Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm talking about a response to this guy named Jaw Clamps, who is responding to my video, responding to Ruben Sim on Twitter, calling out furries. Although he's not necessarily calling them out as much as saying we don't deserve healthcare. Literally, word for word, almost exactly, we don't deserve healthcare, essentially. Although that could be satire, we still don't exactly know. Now, let me get into the meats and potatoes of this. So, first off, I am not saying entirely that furries are marginalized the same as LGBTQ plus individuals. It is kind of wrong. It is kind of asinine. I do agree. However, you need to keep in mind most of the LGBTQ plus community, roughly around 68% of us, are of the LGBTQ plus community, and we are of the autism spectrum as well. So a lot of us having mental problems and also being a group of people who are already marginalized and then being a part of something that we enjoy but gets looked at as terrible because of all the hypotheses individuals have from misinformation and disinformation that is intentionally thrown out there, which I'm going to get into, we do get marginalized. Now, how? Like I just said, I'm going to get into it. So, specifically when it comes down to politics, if you watch The Young Turks, if you watch Brian Taylor Cohen, if you watch even, what was his name? David Pakman. There has been a handful of times, and quite a handful of times recently, where Trump supporters specifically freak out about furries inside of a school board meeting, inside of a political meeting, and say that because we're pissing inside of litter boxes, we deserve to have no health care, and we can't believe we're giving health care to individuals who wouldn't even use a toilet, but optionally. It's like, one, literally no furry at all, as of recently, has decided to piss into a litter box inside of a school bathroom because not at all recently has there been a litter box in the school bathroom and most likely was actually used by a cat. And granted, every time so far that somebody says they found a litter box in the bathroom used by furries, that it's literally fake. But that's what I'm saying. People are trying to marginalize us, and what we can do is do our best to stop it. That's it. That's all I'm saying about that specific aspect of it. Granted, I should have been much more clear in the first video. I agree. However, furry phobia does not just exist in my head. Furry phobia is a real thing. A lot of people who hear the term furry immediately get disgusted because they either associate it with zoophiles or they associate it with people who are creepily obsessed with animals. And that's partially the internet's fault. Nowadays, it has changed a little bit. It's still basically exactly that for the people who aren't online. But like you, me and you were online, probably as equal, almost every day. We see the information, we see the news, we know what's actually going on. But a lot of the people who don't are elders, and a lot of the people who are our elders have a little bit more power in politics than us younger kids do. And the only reason being is because they've been able to legally contribute to more. So if they want to vote for something, we may almost be even in numbers, but a lot of us young people are too young to vote. And a lot of us people that are at the age of like 25, 26 and stuff like that have already been manipulated a little bit by politics, so we really don't understand what's actually going on. And in my previous videos, if you've watched any of my political videos, Jaw, you would probably see that my political opinions are rather gruesome, kind of fucked up, but I believe they're necessary. Granted, is it fucked up that I believe they're necessary? I can't deny that. I think that's true. It's kind of fucked up that I believe it's necessary to bring up. However, I bring them up, such as my genocide talk. However, that is a conversation for those specific videos. This is a conversation for furries, and about furry hate and hate towards the individuals known as furries. Now, when you go online and you type in I hate furries, you'll find somebody by the name of Orange Peaches, I think is the name of them, and then another person named Klug. Klug, I'm pretty sure, is doing it satirically, but the amount of content that he has of furries being ripped apart piece by piece and literally being like beaten to death and shit like that, it's like you are projecting. You don't just hate furries, you fucking hate furries. That's projection. However, that's a hypothesis. That is an assumption. Do not take that genuinely. As I said over my YouTube channel before, I'm rather going over like actual factual information rather than just saying a bunch of bullshit and saying it's true. Because that's not okay at all to anybody who even does that. You don't. No. In my opinion, you should stop having the right to talk for a little bit and be re-educated before you can come back online. But still, that's my opinion on that. However, let me basically just kind of read this guy's entire comment. So we've seen this one right here. He says, I don't think any form of response will convince anyone besides furries that furries are a marginalized group. You may think that what Ruben is saying is harmful, but not nearly as harmful as lumping furries with actual marginalized groups. Okay, now there's a piece of criticism there. That's not as harmful at all. I don't know why I'm slapping my thigh like this for that reason. I did what weird reaction, but okay, that is not right. You saying lumping them with actual marginalized groups is a bad thing? Not really, because we are a marginalized group for the reason of the fact that we are mostly LGBTQ+. My point is that we are only marginalized as severely because a lot of us, in fact most of us, are gay, bisexual, lesbian, trans, non-binary, and etc. That's what I'm saying. Okay? Now that I've cleared that up, I want you to know that we are a marginalized group, just not as severely as the LGBTQ plus community, because if all of us furries were straight Christians, this would not be happening at all. Like, at all. Besides, oh, these missionaries are very annoying going over to places where, the Sentinelese are, and we're gonna get killed over and over again because we're too stupid to leave a dying tribe alone. Like, the Sentinelese, in case you guys don't know, they're the one group of people that live on an island. I don't remember exactly where, but they're, I don't know what descent, but basically they're a group of natives to that land that they're on, and they will kill anybody who gets close to them. They do it because they are aware of the fact that viruses do exist. They just choose to live the lifestyle that they do. Just like, I'm not going to use this as a direct example, but just like how us furries decide to choose the decisions that we do. One of my things here, Jaw, is if you're going to criticize the furry fandom, do it over something that is actually needing to be criticized. Not just, and I'm not saying you're doing this because you're not, but just immediately being like, oh, all furries are zoophiles. That happens a lot, dude. That actually happens a lot, not just for trolling. Not just for trolling. No, people actually genuinely believe that when they hear a furry, they believe that they're a zoophile. The first time that I came out as furry, like, not to my own parents, but to somebody who I was a friend with, they took me aside and say, wait, so you fuck dogs? No! No! I like to draw fluffy dogs, yeah, that are bright and colorful, but that's like it. It's a fluffy dog that's bright and colorful drawn in 2D. What's so bad about that? Unless you start drawing porn of it, and that's another conversation. Which also kind of leads to us being marginalized. So, yes, we are a slightly marginalized group. However, granted, it is not as severe as the LGBTQ plus community. But, again, because we are part of that community, the harassment will still continue. The hate will still rise, because those who hate us only hate us for being gay, lesbian, bisexual, and trans. In one of Brian Taylor Cohen's videos, or TYT's videos actually, not Brian Taylor Cohen, it was the Young Turks, and I don't remember if it was TYT Rebel or not, but basically it was, a dude went up to a couple of Trump supporters and asked this lady specifically what she thinks about furries. And she said that, she said that specifically the, furries are really bad, and like she knows a bunch of 14-year-old girls who are also trans who are furries at the same time, and she's using that as a way to be like, oh look, this is such a bad thing, we need to move it out. Like I said, we are being marginalized, but it's not by what you see. It's not. I don't think you're seeing this. Now, the reason why us furries will agree to this is because we're furries and we live through it day by day. We get dirty looks, we get harassed, we get made fun of online, we get picked at, we get thrown around and beat up sometimes, but we're still going to be here for centuries and eons. So my point is if you're actually somebody who hates us, give up on trying to harass us and make our lives more difficult. Make it easier for yourself by not worrying about us, because granted, like I said, actually, I forgot about this! Oh shit, yeah, Last year, I don't remember if it was in January or like at the end, like the beginning of the year, But fucking, I don't remember the lady's name, but she was crying on the microphone in the middle of a political conversation and saying that furries are pedophiles and that we should stop associating them with children because they're accepting of trans people. That's another example. I think that was on BTC, or was that on David Pakman? One of the two channels there, maybe it was even on TYT. I need to go back to it and look. I will definitely make a comment, or not, yeah, I will make a comment on this video along with making a comment on my community tab dedicated towards naming off the specific videos and YouTubers that do these specific things. Now, I digress. One of the things that I want to make, like, let you know is you can't just ask, how are we being discriminated against? Bro, the video is about how Ruben Sim went on Twitter and said we deserve no health care because we're furries and we're all zoophiles. That's literally almost word for word what he said. What do you mean we're not being discriminated against? What the hell do you mean? Like, actually, genuinely, bro. Come on now. I would expect better from humanity, but then again, this is humanity and we all make consecutive mistakes and we don't learn from them, so. But still, I understand a lot of people's points, you know? Comparing us to a marginalized group is a bad thing. But I do not think you guys know that much about what you're talking about. I do. I still got a lot to learn, but I know enough about what I'm talking about to tell you that you're wrong. Okay? And I can prove to you as much as I can. But it's up to you to take that information and disprove it to make sure that it's informationally correct. That is kind of an incorrect term, but it worked. So, like I said, it is kind of just you. Not necessarily just you, as if it's only you, but it's people like you who come from similar backgrounds, who come from similar starts of their lives, coming from similar educations, coming from etc. They just have to be slightly similar enough to share the same opinion. It's people like you who don't necessarily understand what discrimination even is. We are being discriminated against. I mean, even, again, back to the politics conversation. A lot of the times you have Karens and stuff like that going up to school board meetings and political conference meetings and being like, oh my god, the furries keep peeing in litter boxes, we need to kick them out of our school system and give them no health care, and we need to put them in a mental facility because they're going crazy. That happens all the time. We do get discriminated against. We just aren't as hardcore marginalized. Do you kind of see what I'm saying here, dude? As I have to be stoned as fuck to fucking talk, and that's annoying, but still, do you see what I'm saying? Like, you can't go from explain to me how we're not marginalized to we're not discriminated against. We are being discriminated against. I understand marginalization and discrimination are similar, but they're not the same thing, okay? They are not the same thing. Marginalization is like actual political force within law that forces you to be grouped up within a specific way, when discrimination is also kind of similar, although it's a group of people or just in general people who don't like a specific group of people who will go out of their way to harass and insult those group of people because they genuinely don't believe or have enough knowledge to understand those individuals they're insulting. Psychology. Very important field. Highly important. In fact, it's so important that if I ever do get into politics, I'm going to kind of help force psychology, neurology, and biology classes, along with chemistry classes, starting off with environmental sciences like normal, in earlier schools, middle school even. Like in 5th grade when you're in elementary school, did you watch that puberty video, right? But you don't learn enough. At that time, boys are still thinking that, oh, I only have one hole to pee out of. I mean, you're not wrong, but you're not right, like, at all. It's 2 tubes connected to one end, but still. My point is that there's a lack of education. There's an amount of disinformation and misinformation. I know I use them interchangeably, kind of, sometimes, but they're not. They're two different things. One of the other things I want to mention is, dude, I actually kind of respect you. You aren't just going out of your way to immediately just start harassing and, like, calling me out for being whatever and, like, insulting. However, at the same time, you are kind of insulting. It's just, I already can tell based on the way of what you're saying, you think you're correct. Like I think I'm correct. But I'm asking you to disprove me because I'm the one making the point. So if you can prove me wrong, go ahead and do so. But if you can't, then welcome to my world. I can prove myself wrong on a lot of things. In fact, a lot of the times I go over what I say so that way I can figure out where I'm wrong with. But this specific thing, in the last video, I was a little wrong with some of the stuff I said, yeah. But in this video, no, not really. Not really at all. When it comes down to furries, yes, again, we are marginalized. Just not in the same way. We are discriminated against. Just not in the same way. Everybody has different ways to insult specific individuals they dislike because they go out of their way to find what hurts those individuals the most and use it. That's malicious and malevolent people for you. And there's a lot of people online that are like that. I don't know what information you've received that makes you believe this, but I've been a furry since I was 13 years old. Granted, I was really young, but still, I've been around in the fandom long enough to be the most cringe I can ever be to somebody who is actually like who I am now. However, that is incredibly depressed. That is a different conversation for mental health. I still try to go out of my way to do stuff like disproving new information. I don't see how that's relative to what I just talked about. I have a problem with that. I need to work on that. Definitely. Like, I don't even remember what I was saying 5 minutes ago, but that's probably also the weed, but then, yay, schizotypal disorder. However, I disagree. Or disagree? Digress. Holy God, man. Oh God, I need a break for a minute. Okay, I found a few of the content creators that I was talking about. So Klug, Major Klug, Hoping Button. Beta Ada Delota is not a furry hater, he's actually a furry himself, but if you want to watch comments talking about furry discrimination and stuff like that, go ahead and watch him. Same with Odin Wolf. Where is this guy? Doot. Okay, one other person named Sensitive Society. I'm gonna watch their content for a second, make sure I'm correct about it. Okay, yes, I am correct, it is the right person, Sensitive Society. Now, I kind of like this dude. I guess I have some appreciation for him, but for the most part,
from Twitter people,
when you in the beginning of this video, he's talking about people like Hypnotist Sappho, somebody who's a zoophile, who's openly coming out as a zoophile. And in the beginning of the video, he sets it up as if all furries are like this. Later in the video, he goes ahead and describes a tiny bit, not really very descriptive, about how not all furries are like that, but it's not enough to deter people to be like, okay, not all furries are like that. Now, as a furry, I hate zoosexuals. I hate zoophiles. I was about to say bisexuals when I meant bestialists. Those people. If you're gonna fucking screw the dog, bro, you might need to go to hell early. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna say I'm the one that's gonna do it for you, but you might need to go to hell early. That's all I'm gonna say. However, there's that, and then there's like a couple of other people on this entire thing. Let me go ahead and find this other guy. That's not right. That's not it either. What? Orange Peanut. Yeah, that's his name. Orange Peanut, not Peach. Peanut.
20.
Okay. And also, there is this True Stories channel that, if I remember correctly, made a video about furries where apparently 2 furries were raising their child to be a furry. Like walking them on a leash and shit like that. I think that's actually what's on the thumbnail too. Wait, can I find that video? Hang on, let me find that video. Okay, yes. On True Stories, there is a video that is almost 5 minutes long called I Was Raised by Furries. And in the picture of it, it is a blue fox wolf hybrid thing with a other wolf hybrid thing, terribly drawn, both of them, with like walking a kid who's crying on all fours. Like, that's not what furries do to each other, and the only time that happens is when it's consensual. Aha, see? Clever sex joke that actually works. See? That's what I'm saying. You can make these kinds of jokes, but just all the time, man? Like, all the time? Really? Now, that's about all I can go ahead and name off of immediately when it comes down to immediate hate towards furries. But there's also a fuck ton of anti-furry memes and stuff like that. And like, I can understand. Again, you dislike us, you want to fuck around and stuff like that. That's fine. But when your meme is when your brother wants to cuddle the dog and goes too far, and then it shows a picture of Hypnotist Sappho, it's like, okay, that's funny, but that's also misdirecting. That's the point that I'm trying to make here, dude. Is there's a lot of misdirection within the conversation within furries. There's a lot of hate towards us, actually. There's a lot of dislike towards us. And simply saying that we're not discriminated against is entirely wrong. We are pretty fucking discriminated against. In fact, we are not as close as the LGBTQ plus community in general. But when somebody usually hears the term furry, they usually associate it with zoophiles if they're uneducated and not really online as much as somebody like you are. Jaw. Okay? Me and you might be terminally online. We might be some of the most terminally online people, but that doesn't mean we even have the information for this specific subject. But like, I guess, how do I say this? I can see your point. I can see what you're trying to say. I see what you're trying to say, I think. If I'm misinterpreting it, just let me know. But I'm telling you right now that I'm 90% sure you're wrong. I'm not going to go ahead and try to like coerce you into being like this. I'm just going to say disprove me. Like, do it. Now, I did say that's just you. You know, nothing else. You said, no, please enlighten me. I'm curious to how furries are being discriminated against. And I said, you give me a second, and here's the second, which is actually 15 minutes. Now, I'm going to cut the video off here. There isn't really much to say, otherwise I'd be a broken record. So if you like the video, like it, dislike it if you dislike it. Let me know in the reason for in the comment section below. Keep it down to criticism, low insulting, and stuff like that. Other than that, love you all. May you all find peace in your domains. And good luck. Even to you, jaw clamps.